Hello. Hi, a very warm welcome to today's session. I welcome you all once again, and I'm looking forward to a great session today where we'll be again discussing about how we can take charge of our lives. In the earlier two sessions, we have seen that it is very important for us to understand about ourselves because when we know about ourselves, then it becomes easier for us to understand what are our strengths and what are our weaknesses and how we have to work towards improvement. And we also talked about our value system, belief system, the way we define ourselves, the way we set our goals, we set smart goals, how do we look at failures, how do we shift our attitude, and how do we really see that whatever we are doing is going to help us in improve ourselves. Very important to understand that when we are talking about to achieve something in the outside world and to really do something outstanding, it's very important that we have our focus on ourselves. Today, what happens when we are going out and trying to do something, we are always focusing on outside factors, external factors, the people who are working with us, the people with whom we are competing, the people who are responsible for doing certain activities, but they are not internal to us, they are external forces. For example, if you are practicing the art of karate, now I'm going to ask you one simple question, that what will make you successful? Now, you may have different answers for this, and many people who are struggling to achieve greater heights and to achieve some big results in the field of karate, or for that matter, cricket, or for that matter, football, or for that matter, studies, or a professional career, or business, or politics, anything. Everything boils down to you. It is not about what anybody else is doing, it is about what you are doing, how you are working on yourself. It is about going deeper into your own analysis and finding out what are the key areas which you need to improve on. And when you're focused on improving yourself, you are always going to find that you are making some progress on whatever targets you have in whatever field. Today we will look at another dimension, how you develop your capabilities, how you develop your strengths, and how you can convert your weaknesses into strengths. There are many people I have seen that they have challenges in whatever field they are working. Let's say there is a person who's doing a job, who's doing a private job, and he is not getting any promotions, he is not getting any recognition, and his appraisal is not good, and his bosses are always not very happy with him. And when this is happening, he is devastated, he or she, whatever the case may be. And the primary reason is because you are giving the control to other people, you're not taking the control of the situation. Now that's what I call take charge of your life. When you take control of the situation, what you're going to do, you are going to focus on what you are doing and how you're doing it and how well you're rating yourself. You have to be honest yourself. The first thing is we have to be honest with ourselves, and then only we can make some progress. So taking that same example that you are in a job and you're not able to make your bosses happy, or you're not able to get good rating in the appraisals that are happening, or you're not able to make much bonus, your targets are not happening, things are not just working for you, and you feel very demotivated, you feel very dejected. Now we have to look at it very objectively, that what is the reason for this situation. You have to deeply analyze yourself and see that whatever you're doing, are you doing a very great job? or there is some scope for improvement? Are you really very keen and interested in your growth? Leave aside your bosses, leave aside the appraisal, leave aside the company system or the competition that you're facing. Just focus on one thing, that whatever you're doing, are you happy about the way you're doing it? Do you feel that if you have to rate yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, how many marks you going to give us? So if you give yourself 9 marks or 10 marks, or you give yourself 8 marks or 6 marks or 5 marks, be very honest with yourself and try to understand that when you are rating yourself, you have to really see that you are doing an objective rating. So maybe you can take help of some unbiased people in this, maybe your friends or your friends in the job or your colleagues which are there. They can give you unbiased opinion, unbiased feedback on how well you are doing certain things. And the most important feedback is feedback from within. From within yourself, if you understand what is the requirement of your job, do you have those skills, are you practicing those things right? To take an example, if you are meeting you know some clients in office, or your job is to prepare some budgets if you're in the finance line, or if your job is to really create some designs or graphics if you are in multimedia or IT side, whatever you're doing, or if you are into research and development and your job is to create new ideas and to work on new products and to create more value for our organization, just look at it from within, that are you passionate about what you're doing and whether you're putting in 100%. If you're putting in 100% effort in a job, then you will realize that there'll be certain areas where you need to improve. So after each attempt of, let's say, if you are planning a work schedule for 2 hours or 3 hours, just go for it. Give your best, whatever knowledge, skills, and whatever technicalities you know, just give your best. And after 2 hours or 2.5 hours or 3 hours, when your time is over, just see that what you achieved. And if you not achieved much, explore that what more skills you can learn, explore that what more techniques you can learn, explore if you need some professional help, and if there are people who can guide you to become better, and work on self improvement rather than expecting some good grades by your bosses, some appreciation in your appraisal. Understand that when you're not producing quality result, nobody is going to appreciate you. And yes, the bosses can be biased at times, but I am saying your quality is your quality, your capability is your capability. Whatever your bosses are, even if the bosses are fair or they are biased, you are going to work on yourself and you're going to improve yourself. So you have to focus and really see that what you're doing and what are the areas which you can improve. When you start focusing on that, you can actually break down your improvement areas into parameters depending upon the kind of job you do, or maybe in your day-to-day life also. If you're a student and you have to study, let's say, 5 6 subjects on a regular basis and you're not scoring well, you need to really see that how much dedication, how much commitment you have to achieve what you want to achieve. If your parents have been telling you that you need to achieve good results, and if your teachers are telling you that you can do well, and you are not achieving results, then you have to really work backwards and see that where do you stand, and that will depend upon your honesty, your integrity about yourself. How do you assess yourself? How do you rate yourself? I have seen in my career and in my experience that there are many people who do not look inward. They're always up and they're always blaming others around them. And I'm not saying that I'm not a part of this. I'm also a part of this most of the time. And that is why our progress suffers. So we have to, there's a constant struggle. Whenever there is a challenge, we need to see that whether the fault lies with us, and most of the time you'll find that the fault lies with us. So we have to correct ourselves. If others are not right, we cannot correct them, but if we correct ourselves, if we perfect ourselves, we're going to find a place. We're going to find opportunities for our success. We're going to find more avenues where we can apply ourselves. So it's important to be honest with yourself and to have the integrity and the courage to accept your mistake. Many people are born with the thought they cannot make mistake, they are perfect, and these are the people. And if you are one of them, please understand that the progress will not happen. There will be nothing achieved in the end. What you have to do is, for every failure, for every setback, you have to sit down and analyze what are the areas that you need to improve, and that is the only way you can take it forward. So it's going to be very, very motivating and very challenging and very no focused activity, which is going to involve you, which is going to help you in gaining a lot of insights, and you will be able to see a lot of light across that line. So once you are willing to cross that line, and what is that line? Rub that line off. The line that always told you that you are perfect, the line that always told you that you cannot make mistakes, the line that always told you when something goes wrong, it is always the responsibility of the other people, and you have to be defensive, you have to pass the buck, and you have to stand up and defend yourself. Whether you are right or not, you are defending yourself always. So beyond that, just look at finding out fault with yourselves, and when you are finding out a fault, try to work on it and improve it, because when you do that, everything will start changing for you. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, you can ask me and I can reply to you on that. What we have seen till now is, let's do a recap. We talked about your value system, we talked about the beliefs, the definition that you have about yourself. We also talked about the goals, how do you set smart goals. We also talking about how you treat your failures. We are talking about the attitude, how do you take charge. So very important to understand that there is always control over things that you can do in any situation, whether you are a student or a businessman or a housewife, or you have a strained relationship, or you are an executive in a company, or you're having a tough time, you lost your job in COVID, or your business is not doing very well, or there are partnership issues in your business, or there are people who are not supporting you. There can be so many issues around the place, but then you have to look at what is in your control. And when you understand that, just work on the areas that are in your control and leave everything out. So important thing is, in any given situation, you have to clearly think that what is in your control. The control would mean that something that you can do immediately now, some things that you do not need any approval from anybody, activities that you can just do right now from wherever you are. You can take action, and you do not need any more resources, or you do not need any intermediary steps, like you have no that I will do this once this happens. So there is an intermediary step, and what happens? So if that intermediary step is not going to happen, you will not act. So we need to eliminate those intermediary steps. I can give you so many examples from personal experience, that when you are talking about creating those imaginary intermediary steps, what's happening that you are delaying your action. So you are procrastinating. Your mind is cheating you, and you are moving away from action all the time. So if you have to do some pending project, or you have to complete some report which is pending for a while, and you are telling yourself, let me have a cup of coffee first, then I'll have this done, then understand that you're creating a barrier for your success. Or you can think of, okay, fine, this report I'll do tomorrow, today let me do something else. Whatever, there may be some calls to certain clients, or maybe some meetings, and you are postponing that invariably. So the mantra is that you get hold of what you can do now. So understanding that if you have a problem or a challenge in any field, what you need to do is you need to immediately take action on that. And taking action means that you're going to immediately start working on it, working on the things that are in your control. For example, if you see that there is a factory or there is a house that is catching fire, now what will you do? You can shout, you can worry, you can do a lot of things, or you can actually go inside and try to save some stuff of yours. These are all things you can do. Or you will call a fire brigade, or you will try to extinguish the fire, or you will take help from your local community. And if you are trained in firefighting, you will do something about that, or maybe take help from people who are trained in that discipline. So worrying about it, shouting about it, crying about it will not help. You have to do something about it, because that action is going to produce some results for you. Maybe you cannot save 100%, but you will be able to save 50%, 60%, 80%, 40%, but you will take something out of that. So very important that whatever situation you have, objectively look at that what are the things that you can do. Whether you are building up a house, or developing a channel for the market, or you are hiring people, or you are conducting some kind of an assessment or an audit, or you are building up some kind of system, it's very important that you do what is in your control, because if you do something that is not in your control, results will not happen, right? So what happens when we start doing something that is in our control, we keep building our capability and our strength improves, and then we are equipped to do better things, to actually have more control over things. So even with less control, if you just do what is in your control, you're going to increase the impact that you can have by doing what you can do. For example, if you look at the movements which were conducted by Mahatma Gandhi, now there were a lot of non-violent movements that he did at the time of freedom struggle. So the basic essence that we learn from there is British Empire was very powerful, and they had all the machinery, all the army, all the equipments. So they were equipped and very wealthy, and they had a lot of preparedness, and they're very powerful. Now Mahatma Gandhi, what did he said? Okay, fine, I'm going to sit on hunger strike. Now that is what he could do. He couldn't do anything to fight with those forces. He did not have guns. He did not have the battalion or military to fight with the forces. He said, if you're going to hit me, I'm going to ask you to hit me again, because that is what I can do. I can receive the blows, and that's what he did. And the entire country followed him. It became so difficult for the Britishers to actually control the situation. And you see how long can you hit somebody who is actually not reacting to you. So what he taught and what we're discussing today is that what he can do is very important and what is in your control. Because when you start reacting to other people, you give away the control to other people. Most of the time, in arguments that you have with people, most of the times when we have some interactions with people on the road, you see road rage. There is so much of road rage today that even most educated people, what they are doing is, and whatever you are, going to work. So it's going to help you a lot. I like to thank Neeraj ji for putting up a kind reply. So Neeraj ji, if you want, you can ask me some questions. And thanks for your comments there in the section. And people who are joining me can ask any questions if you feel that there are any challenges that you're facing, or there is something that I can help with. Because every solution is within you. There is nothing outside. So what we have been taught from beginning, and I think this curriculum is missing from our universities, from our colleges, and it's a very, very great loss for us. And very important to learn this art, that every resource is inside you, and you are the uh, source of all solutions. So whenever you are stuck with a problem, whenever you find that there is anything difficult that you are facing, remember that it is not bigger than your strength, and you will always have a solution inside you. And that, but then for that you must be very clear about your values, your beliefs, your definition, your goals, and you must be learning from your mistakes, and you must know that where you want to reach, and what's your purpose in life, and the things like that, as we discussed in the past two sessions. So those are all building blocks. So once you build your uh, self, once you build your personality in the right fashion, keep out the distortions that the society has given you. There have been many people who must have told us, you can't do this, you look like this, you have to look like that, you do not have height, you do not have no a very charming personality. Look at film actors. There are so many film actors. They have done such a great job. They did not have any height, and I don't want to name any actors right now who are short. But then they are so successful. Even cricketers who are not having that 6 feet, they are so successful. And there are 2, 3 cricketers in India, and they are very short, and they became world record breakers for us, and they created so many records. So it is not about, so when you tie yourself down with somebody else's perception that because you do not have height you cannot play cricket, because you cannot speak English and therefore you cannot become the prime minister of the country, or you cannot become a member of parliament, or you cannot become an MLA, or you cannot do something. No, you can speak Hindi and still you can do that, and you can learn English later on. And there are so many people who learned English later on. So I must tell you that throw out all the negativity, all the complexes that people have given you. I will again repeat, I am not asking you to become arrogant. I am not asking you to retaliate. I am not asking you to become a very, very tough minded. What only thing I am trying to communicate is that be very humble, know yourself, and stand up for your rights and respect the rights of other people. If we look at what's happening on our roads today, when you're driving out and there is a car or a two-wheeler or an automobile or a truck or a tempo, anything, and that guy is rushing, that guy is trying to overtake you from the wrong side, or maybe they are running against the traffic norms, they are breaking a traffic signal, or they are actually giving you some kind of discomfort where they're creating a problem for you, they're expecting you to apply brakes, and they're trying to dodge you, and that kind of driving they are doing. Now, there's just two things there. First one is that this guy is not educated, and let's understand that he is a fellow citizen, and he may be educated, he may be not educated, but for sure, due to certain reasons, he lacks three things. And what are these three things? First thing is that he doesn't respect the right of other person, and that is what is happening in a society today. We find there so many people who are not bothered about other people. Whenever I have seen that whenever I park my car in the market where there are no parkings, so what I would do, I would maybe go 500 meters to one side and try to find a secure place when I can park my car. And when I park my car, I ensure that there is no vehicle which is blocked because of my car. And when I come back after shopping after half an hour, I find there are two bikes blocking my car, or there is another car which is blocking my car, and the driver is not there. The handbrakes are on, and it's a very difficult situation. Now you're waiting for that person to come. Now, on many occasions, I spoken to these people. I had gone to my bank and I had parked my car very clean. Now there is a bike behind my car, and I have to take it out. Now I do not know what to do, so I waited 10 minutes there. Now the gentleman came out from the bank. He said, "Oh, I am just moving it." I said, "You wasted my 10 minutes." And I looked very educated person. There was a female with him, and he only said one thing, that it was only a matter of minute. And I thought, no, it's not a matter of a minute. You understand that if you park your car like that and I put my bike behind your car and you have to wait 10 minutes, then how will you feel about the whole thing? And when there is space available on the road where you can park it clean on the either side, maybe you have to walk 10-20 meters. Why can't you do that? Why do you have to block a car which is already parked? And to that he said, okay, fine, I realized, and I will make sure that the next time I'm parking my bike, I'll be trying to find I'll try to find a clear parking space where I will not be obstructing any vehicle. Now that is something, that's a small example, but what I'm talking is that our education system and the way we have grown up, we have stopped respecting the rights of other people. And I think that's very dangerous situation. And that is why our society is not flourishing, because each person is just concentrating on himself or herself. And when you look at the collective society, you are having troubles with your things. Now, very important, when you want to take charge of your life, it's also a part of taking charge of your life where you take responsibility of your behavior. Look at your etiquette. I think that training is very important. Look at how we are behaving with people on the roadside. And do we have guts to step out and say sorry when we make a mistake? And when was the last time we have said sorry for our mistakes to somebody not known to us? We are always, so we have seen those goons coming out. I have seen it so many times, that people coming out and because there is a scratch on the car, they kill somebody. So those news items are always there. So we need to change this, and it's going to start, and then only we'll have a society. Then only we'll be safer. Then only we'll be progressive. Then only we'll have true progress. And I think everybody, all of us, will be secure, safe, and we'll be flourishing in the times to come. And understand that when we have right living, we will conquer all our problems. There'll be no problems. The problems are there because we're not living the life in the right fashion. We are making compromises. We're living with compromises, and nobody is telling us to change. So when we are talking about this program, take charge of your life, it's a very broad program. It has many facets and many dimensions. We'll again meet next Thursday at 7:30. I'd like to thank everybody, and especially Neeraj ji for being part of the show. And thanks for the encouraging words. We look forward for more discussion, so that we'll be more relevant and more interesting for solving the problems that we have. And I must tell you one thing, that you need only one person to solve all your problems, and that is you. And have faith on yourself, work on yourself, be honest with yourself, and things will start changing you, because you have control on what you can do to bring about big changes. With that, I'd like to thank you and see you next week. Until then, Take care. Goodbye. God bless.